Hello everyone, I am Serena Lim and today I will be sharing about the pros and cons of the copyright laws. Let us first take a look at the question. Using some of the arguments for and against SOPA or PIPA, discuss the pros and cons of copyright or patent laws and take a position of what would be fair for growth and innovation in new media. SOPA stands for Stop Online Piracy Act, which gives the government the power to order companies to remove content from its websites or risk facing sanctions. In a way, internet service providers are now made responsible for the contents which their users post online, forcing these internet service providers to play the role of copyright police. Similarly, the Protect IP Act, PIPA, stands for Preventing Real Online Threats to Economic Creativity and Theft of Intellectual Property Act, gives the US government and copyright holders more power to cut access to websites which infringes on copyrights or contents which the government deems as dubious, especially foreign websites. This act will also give the government the right to cut off fundings to infringing websites. However, the proposal to pass these two acts as laws in Congress fell through in January this year after being backed up by internet service providers, initial sponsors for the acts which eventually backed down, as well as online websites such as Google, Facebook, and Wikipedia. To show their opposition to the acts, Google obtained 7 million signatures, while Wikipedia's blackout page was seen by more than 162 million people. This brings us to our next section of our discussion. What are the pros and cons of copyright laws? Why is the entertainment industry so adamant in pushing for the acts to be passed in Congress? And why are there companies and individuals out there who are so against the implementation of the acts?
We shall first take a look at the pros of having copyright laws. The primary function of a copyright law is to protect original works of authorship such as literary works, musical works, and dramatic works. By protecting the interests of the creator, it is an incentive to encourage creativity and hence creation of new works. For instance, in the software industry, when users purchase the original software, revenue goes to the team of people who developed the program. With this revenue, they will have more financial ability for future innovation. Licenses can also be used for the protection for creators. Before a user is allowed to use a software, most of the time they will be bound to a license agreement. The software company thus retains the intellectual property rights of the products, while consumers are obligated to follow what the license permitted and forbade. But with the convenience of the internet today, software piracy exists. Thus, piracy causes the creative team to lose out on revenue and funds for future innovation. As such, copyright laws are important in the fight against piracy. When copyright laws are fully enforced, it enables companies to earn what is originally entitled to them. In the case of the entertainment industry, piracy in the form of online video streaming, file sharing of music, shows, and movies are a great loss to the entertainment companies. Indeed, with the internet, where information is freely available and exchanged, most of the users turn to consuming these entertainment contents online, which is free most of the time. The loss in revenue for these companies, which is much needed for their continued operation, was what prompted the Motion Picture Association of America and Recording Industry of Association of America to lobby strongly for PIPA and SOPA. Of course, we also need to understand that there will still be some individuals who will support originals and are willing to pay more for quality or to support their idols regardless of whether the copyright laws are in place. In 2010, Google got itself into hot soup when it was being sued by artists for copyright infringements. Google had uploaded thousands of photographs and literary works without permission from their copyright owners. Earlier this year, Mega Upload was shut down and its owner Kim.com was arrested for alleged copyright infringements with its file storage services. Thus, the existence of copyright laws can help to deter future pirates and try to obtain compensation for the creators. These advantages of copyright laws aforementioned will hence help companies to secure their competitive edge over others and generate more revenue, which are also the main purposes of why there is a need for intellectual property protection. Now that we have a better understanding as to why the entertainment industries are pushing for PIPA and SOPA, what about other companies and individuals? Why did Google, Wikipedia, and Mark Zuckerberg oppose the acts? Mark Zuckerberg said in a tweet that the internet is the most powerful tool we have for creating a more open and connected world. If PIPA and SOPA were to be successfully implemented, it is a form of censorship and there is always the fear that the acts will be open to abuse, with the government possessing much more power in clamping down contents on the internet. With SOPA and PIPA, it will make it very difficult for many user-generated content websites such as Facebook and YouTube to survive, simply because the government has the power to shut down the entire website even if only one portion of the website infringes on copyrights. Essentially, the government now has the say as to what content is deemed dubious and hence which website needs to be shut down. Opponents of the Act's contend that implementing PIPA and SOPA is a restriction placed on free speech, which may have an impact on what kind of political content reaches the user. Copyright laws are double-edged swords. While they can be an incentive for companies to continue innovating, such laws can compromise creativity as well. PIPA and SOPA now dictates that covers of songs, videos with background music, whether intentionally or unintentionally included, parodies, they are now infringement of copyrights. This means that people can no longer build on existing works to create new products simply because the new products will be deemed to be very similar to the original work. This is in contrast to previous US courts' decisions that parodies are not infringing on copyrights. The idea that people make references to an original work and modifying it to make it humorous, such as writing new lyrics to existing tunes, is considered to be creating new songs with new meanings. Similarly, copyright laws are a threat to web businesses or new startups. New information tends to build on the strengths and weaknesses of existing information. With the copyright laws in place, new startups may find it difficult to compete with the established brand names in the same industry because they might get sued anytime for imitating the style of the work of the established companies. In a way, copyright laws hence stifle innovation as well as building high barriers to entry in a particular industry. These high barriers to entry may not necessarily be good for consumers if the established companies fail to produce new innovative products even after being protected under the copyright laws. We have already discussed how the entertainment companies are so uptight over piracy, yet some artists do see the potential in such piracy. With the internet, information spreads fast and far. For artists, this is a very good opportunity for publicity. Rather than relinquishing their control of their work to their record companies, file sharing enables artists to control the distribution of their work directly. Rihanna posted songs directly to YouTube in order to reach out to a wider audience rather than be kept preoccupied with her record sales. Another artist, Jason Mraz, also said that half of the fans who came to pay to watch his concert knew and heard about him only through illegal downloading. As such, copyright laws are seen by some artists to be stumbling blocks for their careers. Rather than resisting piracy, they would rather go with the flow to bring their careers to greater heights. The disadvantage of copyright laws is that companies become monopolies in their industries. In 2009, Disney wanted to protect its characters, such as Donald Duck and Goofy, which was due to become property in the public domain. As such, they lobbied for the Sony Bono Copyright Term Extension Act, which extended Disney's intellectual property rights. Once again, such a monopoly may stifle creativity and innovation, making it disadvantageous for consumers who end up paying higher prices. With these arguments in mind, What exactly is fair for the growth and innovation for new media? The new media is an unique industry which operates on the principle of low margins and high volumes. Reproduction of information is almost at zero cost, a lower price or almost free in the case of digital media. The products and information are being made more attractive and is hence more likely to bring in more revenue. This is important for new media because if an online company has zero revenue, it is difficult for it to survive economically and innovate for the public. Growth and innovation is a chicken and egg cycle for new media. With growth, companies can innovate. At the same time, companies need to innovate before growth can take place. The challenge for new media companies is that they need to find their own unique formula to apply innovative ways to traditional operations so as to generate revenues while finding a balance with the copyright laws in existence. At the same time, we need to ask ourselves if copyright laws can even be strictly and efficiently enforced. The internet is revolutionizing the world due to its speed and convenience. A government may close down a website now, and the very next moment, another similar website may rise to take the place of its predecessor. If such is the case, copyright law stifled the growth and innovative abilities of the predecessor website. Lastly, consumers also have a part to play in consuming the intellectual properties. Hence, it may not be fair to target copyright laws specifically at companies, asking them to be fully responsible for their user-generated contents. Individuals too should have their own fair share of responsibility, such as heavier penalties if they actually profited from the circulation of copyrighted materials. In conclusion, it is important to have copyright laws in place to maintain order in society. However, in view of the rapidly changing technology, it is necessary for government to continuously revise their copyright laws in order to ensure their relevancy. By doing so, copyright laws will safeguard the interests of creators and yet help to prevent extensive monopoly, hence enabling innovation to flourish. For instance, Sony won its case against Universal Studios and Walt Disney after the court ruled that Sony's Betamax videotape recorder was considered fair use, as consumers can now record shows and watch it at their own time. What the courts did not expect was that this case opened the floodgates to piracy. The courts did not foresee that the public could actually redistribute these recorded shows for profits, hence causing Universal Studios and Walt Disney to lose out on revenue. On the other hand, the court's decision also allowed the video recording manufacturing industry to flourish, which could be seen by the entry of other video recording manufacturing companies such as Matsushita. The copyright laws also need to be clear as to what exactly constitutes copyright infringement. Information is always built on existing information, such as in the case of open source software. Hence, it is difficult to say for sure who exactly owned a particular information and who modified the information. With that, I have come to the end of my virtual presentation. Thank you for your attention.